All right, so it turns out the crazy trade deadline still had one more surprise for us, even a little bit after it ended. The Mark Williams Laker trade got rescinded. Shams says Mark Williams did not pass the physical. And so we just undo the whole thing. Mark Williams goes back to the Hornets, Dalton Knecht and Cam Reddish go back to the Lakers, and the Lakers, of course, they also get their picks back, you know. And of course, I mean, everybody's had concerns about Mark Williams' health over this whole thing, and also just where his defense is really at compared to like the early days of his career as well. But of course, the big thing here is the Lakers thought they had a center, and now they don't. And now Jackson Hayes is your 5, and the deadline is passed, which means, of course, you cannot make a move for anybody else. There's also Christian Koloko, and we're waiting on Christian Wood to see if he's healthy at all. There's also Trey Jemison, but he and Koloko are two-way guys, so they actually can't play in the playoffs unless you give them a guaranteed roster spot. It's a whole thing. As always, if I make a CBA mistake somewhere, my bad. And besides the very awkward conversation that the Hornets and the Lakers need to have now with their guys coming back, this gives Charlotte an opportunity to once again see if the LaMelo-Mark Williams connection can be an actual thing over a longer stretch of games than we've seen so far. And then for the Lakers, I mean, LeBron has looked so good these past few games. I mean, that Warriors game, the confidence that he had on those jumpers, like, the joke everybody's making is that Luka showing up just made LeBron, like, go into a new prime or revisit the fountain of youth again, whatever you want to say here. And now you think about Luka, if those Luka lobs are going to be there, it's going to be with Jackson Hayes pretty much, unless the Lakers can find somebody on the buyout market in a little bit here. And as far as finding another center, well, here's the thing. The Lakers got 2 guys back in this. So therefore, they actually are at 15 players. So if they want to get somebody on the open market, which, by the way, it gets complicated because of, how close you are to the apron and stuff like that. Like, they can't do much here. But they would have to waive somebody, and then they could go on the open market for a center, with which, let's not exactly say the open center market is stacked, but there's a couple of names. And before I throw a bunch of those names at you that I know you're just dying to hear, I might make a CBA mistake here because basically when you're above the first apron, you can't sign guys to a buyout where they were making more than the mid-level, but the mid-level's like 12-something, and Larry Nance makes like 11-something. So you might be able to do that, and, well, Larry Nance getting bought out for the Hawks would be very interesting for the Lakers. But I might have messed that up, and if I did, just forget about that. Sure, he's not technically a center, he's a big forward, but you know what I mean. And for semantics' sake, it has to be a pro-rated deal. If you care, you don't care. I believe Bismack Biyombo just signed somewhere. Yeah, it was the Spurs on a 10-day contract. Not to say that Biyombo was going to be the answer, but more so to say that's more so what you're hoping for now if you're a Laker fan just trying to find anything at the center position. I'm going down the center free agent market. Mo Bamba's out there, I guess. I'm sure Dwight Howard has a tweet ready to go for this whole situation. I think Daniel Tice is out there now. It's been a minute since he was really solid for the Celtics. That was many years ago now. I know Wiseman is out there, but I just wouldn't go that route. I think you need as safe of an option as you can find right now, which maybe that's just not on the table, but this is what we're working with. You think Robin Lopez has anything left in the tank? Do you think Moses Brown can give you anything? And again, they'd have to waive somebody first. So we'll see what they do there, but yeah, like you're probably just going to be seeing more small ball lineups. I mean, Jackson Hayes is going to play about 20-some minutes a game in these, then after that, well, JJ's going to have to make it work between LeBron, Rui, Finney Smith, Vando. Might just have to get into more switching lineups. Now, for everything I'm saying, if Mark Williams' physical was the reason that this didn't happen, then I mean, for the Hornets' sake, that gets awkward because clearly they were ready to move on from him because they did for like 2 days. And then this might say to the rest of the league, well, we're kind of iffy on his physical stuff. And then the Lakers are now iffy on his physical stuff. Would anybody else want to acquire the dude as well? Like, this does put a bit of a something on Mark Williams and I guess the Hornets and their future options with him. I mean, again, he's got a couple years left in his rookie contract, so they could extend him this offseason, and after they were ready to move off of him, I don't know if that's likely. So it's overall just a can of worms, and it's going to be a bit awkward on probably more so the Charlotte Mark Williams side. If you're Dalton Knecht, like, you're a rookie, man. Don't get me wrong. You can still feel weird about the whole situation, but the Lakers are just going to be like, hey, Dalton, welcome back, buddy. As far as Cam Reddish, I don't know. And so now we once again have the conversation of, at some point, the Lakers are going to have to find that long-term center for Luka. Now, we just saw that they were clearly willing to move the 2031 pick, the 30 swap, and then Dalton Knecht as well to get that center. And so, I mean, it's tough because, look, they've been looking really damn good lately without Luka showing up yet. And, I mean, you just think about somebody screening for him and just the threat of the role, as well as, like, LeBron spotting up around it or Luka spotting up off of LeBron with Finney Smith and whether Reeves or Rui spotting up off of it. You know, the whole thing makes itself, right? Well, we're now going to have to move these conversations into the offseason where once again open up the idea of, could it be Nick Claxton, who has not been as good this season, but you imagine him playing with a great creator and just a different situation where there's more at stake. You would hope you can get the best version of Claxton again. Switching, rim protection, the whole thing. I mean, they didn't get Miles Turner at the deadline, and I would imagine the Pacers are going to want to keep Miles Turner. Jakob Poeltl, well, after the Brandon Ingram trade, I imagine the Raptors' goal, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but their goal is going to be to try to win basketball games next season, and having Ingram on a new contract plus whoever they draft this offseason. So we'll see. Weird stuff. I guess we can now say the deadline content is officially over, right? I assume?